welcome everybody to the Magic Beans podcast. We are back again for episode number 134. I'm your host tonight, and my name is Shorty, and I have just the one lone solitary bean on the line. The one who gets confused with me the most, Chewy. How's it going, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. I still can't wrap my head around how people confuse the two of us. But anyway.
Like, our nicknames end in Y. Like, I don't know. Like, it's you're skinny, I'm not. Like, I don't know. Like, there's not that many similarities between us. We're both nerds, maybe. I don't know. But
yes, I don't know how it happens, but somehow it does.
It's happened for a really long time. It's not a new thing.
It has, yeah. And it's not like, I don't know, it's just limited to a couple of people that know both of us really well. Like, it happens all the time with random other people. It
happens with the other beans as well. Yeah. Like, yeah. But yeah, random people that we've known for 5 minutes will do it. So, look, I don't know. One of us should probably be happy about it and the other one should be offended by it. I don't know which
one's which.
Yeah. But, you know, whatever. It is what it is. Just got to accept it sometimes.
Exactly. All right. So, a bunch of different things to talk about on the podcast tonight. And, just the two of us. Cracker's having a night off and Stu is asleep on the couch as far as we can tell.
That's Stu's default position, I think, asleep on the couch. I think he spends more time there than in his actual bed.
Yeah, that's probably
certainly more time there than actually working. But yeah, that's where he is. So
we'll just
wake
hope
up,
Stu's
Stu.
boss doesn't listen to this.
We didn't say he's asleep in the car, so that's okay.
Yeah, although I've definitely had to do that a few times, and I spend a lot of time on the road. That's part of my job. I just travel a lot, getting around to job sites and checking on things. And I've definitely had those days where you're driving home and it's like, if I do not pull over and just have like a 15-minute power nap, I am going to crash. So
full confession.
Just going to find somewhere to pull over and sleep.
So I work from home and I've got a 1-year-old, and there are times where, you know, she wakes up multiple times in the night and I have like a fragmented 4 hours sleep. I've taken like a 20-minute, half an hour lunchtime kip on more than one occasion. So one of the perks of working from home, just go and have a little lie down. And, exactly like you said, it's a power nap and it gets you through the day.
Yeah. So, just enough to get you home in my case.
Yeah, usually and for me to get through the afternoon. So
yeah. What I've found tends to work the most or the best is having a lot of snacks. So every morning it's like
eating.
I pack my lunch or whatever, but then it's like I grab half a dozen snacks from the cupboard that are for the kids and keep them in my center console. And it's like I drive and it's like, oh, I'm getting tired. All right, time for a packet of shapes.
So my problem is I do that and I gain weight where you don't.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, it's an issue.
Yeah. All right, as usual, we're way off topic. So let's talk about Magic the Gathering stuff, seeing as that's what we're here for. Yeah. But before we get into all those topics, do you want to tell us about our awesome sponsors?
Oh, would I ever? The Magic Beans podcast is brought to you by the fine folk at Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. They're a Facebook auction group with nightly auctions and win it now posts. They have primo auctions on the weekend. And their full-time auctioneer means that you can bundle postage, you can pick up amazing bargains with excellent communication, and you get things shipped out super, super fast. So go to jpmtgbazaar.com.au, get bidding, and when you win something, do us a favour and just tell them that the beans sent you, and then they'll keep sponsoring us, and then we can keep doing what we do, and it's just a win-win. jpmtgbazaar.com.au.
Very good. All right. Hopefully it doesn't come through too much. I'm assuming you can probably hear it, Chewy, but hopefully it doesn't come through too much in the edit. My wife's decided to put the washing machine on. It's like 3 meters away from where I'm sitting, so it'll be finished soon. But anyway,
well done,
apologies
Kat.
if that does come through.
No, Discord's doing a good job of noise cancelling, but
yes,
what's being picked up
clearly
by...
see Audacity is not.
You got a new mic. Is that
not
yet?
Not yet. No.
Oh,
but I
okay.
did. I got in on the Prime Day deals this week, and yeah, I've had this mic that I've been eyeing off. That was like $500, and I got it for like $180.
Wow, nice.
Deals. So, yeah, pretty happy with that. So we'll see how that should be here by next week. So hopefully I'll be on next week's podcast, and the listeners can tell me if I sound any better or if I sound worse. Maybe my voice will be clearer, and that won't be a good thing. So we'll see. Time will tell.
We'll do a poll.
Yes. All right, so let's get into the Magic news. Something that was announced, I guess, came out this week. There was an article and a few different things getting around on the internet. Is Channel Fireball has been sold to TCG Player, which is interesting,
right?
Yeah. I mean, Channel Fireball's been in a weird place for a little while. Like they've been around for a long time. They did articles and videos, and they sponsored podcasts and different things like that. And then, and as well as being an online store, you can jump on their online store, you can buy Magic cards, get them delivered to your house, all that sort of thing. And then I think maybe like 18 months ago or 2 years ago, something like that. Now they changed their model, and they basically sold off all their stock to various other online stores. Or physical stores, and turned into a marketplace model, which is basically what TCG Player actually does, or very similar, where other stores and different things, they put up listings through TCG Player. So TCG Player is almost like eBay, I guess, for Magic cards. So Channel Fireball moved to that sort of model. And I don't know if it hasn't been working for them, or TCG Players just sort of come in and taken things over. But do
you think TCG Player have gone, hang on guys, that's our turf? And do you think it was hostile? Because like it seems like it could be, but all of the language and the line that people are spruiking, including LSV, are really trying to sell it as a good thing. I don't know if it's a good thing. Like we're not in the States, so I don't really, engage with those sites because, buying sealed product from Channel Fireball is challenging often here. So yeah, what does it mean for, the Magic market, the secondary market? There's less competition now, but there's also more, collaboration and, there's more stock and there's more infrastructure working together. So, I don't know whether it's a good thing or not. I just I don't know. I'm sure everybody's got, different opinions on it, but,
yep.
I think it's a kind of wait and see for your average Magic player. Probably not going to affect us too much. No.
Yeah. And especially us here in Australia, like you said, I've bought stuff from TCG Player. Sometimes if I'm putting in a big order of cards, it is worthwhile jumping on there because you can buy from a bunch of different stores, but then have it all shipped in one package. So you can sort of combine postage, even though it's coming from a bunch of different stores. Like they all ship it to TCG Player, then TCG Player ship it to you. So that works quite well. CFB, I don't think I've ever bought anything off of. Like it just, value-wise, it just kind of isn't there for us here in Australia. So, yeah, it's a bit hard to tell. No idea what it's going to be like. Part of this acquisition, CFB owned a company called Binder POS, or POS, which is point of sale. That's a system that a lot of like local game stores and things like that use for managing their inventory and doing their actual sales of Magic cards. So TCG Play will now own that. They've then obviously got CFB's content stuff, like all their articles and people that make content for them, the marketplace, and then CFB Events, who were doing all the GPs and things in the States or everywhere for a little while. I'm not sure what they're running in terms of events now. So, yeah, I got no idea what this means. I don't know if it was a CFB is struggling and someone please buy us, or if it was TCG Player coming in going, no, we don't want you around anymore, so we're just going to take you out. I don't know. It could be a bunch of different things.
Who knows?
Probably doesn't make a huge difference.
Yeah, the CFB Events entity's kind of just gone the way of the dodo with the pandemic. So that's, not really, it's already gone. So it's not like TCG Player going to come in and, pull that out from under us. So, yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, yeah, we'll wait and see. Who knows? But, people like LSV have been saying, yep, this is a great thing. But LSV, I believe, I don't think he actually works. I'm not sure what his relationship is with CFB because he's part of like Direwolf Games who do, what's that other online game? Eternal? Is it Eternal?
Yeah, I think so. But LSV was, one of the founders of Channel Fireball, but I don't know what his relationship is currently or was before sale. So
yep.
But yeah, I guess we wait and see. But yeah, I guess it's news worth talking about. We don't know what the outcome's going to be. We don't know, too much about it, honestly. So I guess we just be aware of it and wait and see. And, for anybody, particularly in the US that, may be affected by that, I'd love to hear from you. Like hit us up on Twitter or, drop into our Discord and let us know your thoughts on it. Genuinely interested.
Yep. Very good. All right. So another thing that came out recently, there was a state of the game announcement, where they sort of do updates on what's going on in Arena. Most of the article was about Alchemy and, Baldur's Gate and the things that, we're not overly excited about. But in there was also an announcement that, later this summer, which is summer in the States, so it's later this winter for us here in Australia, there's going to be 2 new anthology releases. So we've seen historic anthologies before. They're actually up to number 6. And, usually they contain a couple of good cards and then a bunch of other random stuff that's not all that exciting. But we're getting our first Explorer anthology, drop, which is going to be pretty cool, which will contain 20 Explorer legal cards or cards that are legal in Pioneer that will, once they're released on Arena, become legal in Explorer. And they've got from iconic powerhouses to offbeat favourites. So I don't know quite what that means. And then they're doing another historic anthology drop, so another 20 cards for historic. But
so this is their strategy to bring Pioneer into Arena through these anthologies.
This is their slow drip of cards into Explorer to bring it in line with what's legal in Pioneer. So I would expect this will be, so we've got 20 cards. You're going to get, like 3 or 4 cards, like I think you said before the podcast, Chewy, we might see Nykthos, which is a key card in a mono green deck in Pioneer at the moment. And basically I think the rest of that deck is currently legal on Arena, for Explorer, but except for Nykthos. So you add that card in, all of a sudden you've now got effectively a full Pioneer deck legal on Arena. And then you add a few other key cards that are missing here and there. And then the offbeat favourites are going to be who knows what, but probably some cards that no one cares about. And then maybe some in the middle that a few people are excited about. So like, what do you think of this? And what do you think we're going to see?
I'm excited because even though it's a baby step, I'm excited that it is a step towards Pioneer on Arena. Look, Explorer's really fun, but you can't play it anywhere in paper. So
but you just need someone to run a tournament.
Someone has to, yeah. So it's not a supported paper event. And, we've got, we'll talk about it later. We've got like the, PTQ series coming up and, you can't practice that on Arena. But so I'm really excited by this because I think it's a way to, a good way to introduce cards. It keeps people interested. It's a good way to refresh the format. They can keep an eye on what's happening in Explorer and introduce cards in a particular order to keep the format fresh, which I think, sounds really great. Let's hope their execution is better than their execution of, other things. But I mean, how good would it be to see like Thing in the Ice or Nykthos or, things like that would really, really power up the format, Eidolon the Great Rebel. So there's so many things that could really, make the format amazing. Like Sylvan Caryatid, Shrapnel Blast. There's so many cards that, would get people excited and to build decks. And one of the things, like the mini game I will be playing is seeing what happens with the Arena player base, which are playing way more games than paper, how different the metagames, or how quickly the metagame evolves. Because, if you look at Explorer, how many games of Explorer get played on on Arena versus how many games of Pioneer get played in paper. And it is it's night and day, right? Like there's so many more games. So the top decks, the tier decks that we know about Pioneer at the moment, are they actually in their final form?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, there is... Pioneer does get played on Magic Online, and for quite a while Pioneer was basically not getting played on Magic Online until the PT got announced as being Pioneer, and now it's had a huge revival. So it is popping off a fair bit on Magic Online, but still that would be nowhere near what gets played on Arena. So who knows? Like it's we're clearly not the metagame breakers or the people that can really figure out what a defined metagame is, and when you've got such a wide open format, it is really hard to say what is the top deck, because there's a lot of variables in there. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited though. I hope we see some cool cards, and we're going to say, like, when we spoke about Explorer, when the format was first announced, people were saying, Wizards could just print 150 cards and we'd basically have Pioneer. And we were very clear on there's no way they're going to do that, because that's not how they make the most money out of it. They're going to do it this way. They're going to do 20 cards here and there, and that's how they make a ton of money out of it. So
we
just have to wait for the full format.
Yeah, I just hope that the anthologies aren't priced like the wildcard bundles. I hope they've actually got value, and I hope they're actually showing some interest and commitment in growing the format, not creating barriers to entry. Like, Magic players identify value. That's what we do. It's why we play this game. So it's okay. They can make money. That's fine. But don't gouge, right? Just make it an affordable thing where we can spend some gems and get the cards that we want so we can play the format, because it's going to bring more people if it's affordable. Some people will be like, oh, no, this is going to cost me a fortune. I'm just not going to bother. Or they can go, oh, it costs money. Okay. But it's an appropriate amount of money, so I'll pay that. And, then all of a sudden the format grows and it's much better. So it just comes down to execution and them just trying not to, bleed the player base dry at every single opportunity. But history suggests...
That's exactly what Wizards do.
Yeah, it's just so annoying. It's just like, you would make more money, Wizards, if you just thought long-term and thought about retention. It's like staff, right? Like, let's just burn our staff out. Let's make them work really hard. And then they go, no, I'm leaving. Right. And then all of those skills, and it's not just one person that leaves. It's everyone they're associated with. And then you've got this vacuum, and then, you make more money if you retain. You don't just want to sell something to somebody once. You want to sell them things regularly, and they become a dependable source of revenue over a long term. Come on, Wizards. Seriously. Did you not go to business school?
No.
Clearly not. Anyway, but Explorer's sweet. Yeah.
Yes, Explorer is sweet. Both you and I have been playing a lot of it. Cracker even finally got the stream fired up again this week and played some Explorer as well as cracking some double Masters collector's boxes.
They were pretty. That Smothering Tide that he opened?
Yeah. I just like those lightning bolts. They were very nice. That's cool.
It's disappointing he was one card short of a playset of them, but yeah.
Very good.
Very nice.
All right. So continuing on with the theme of Explorer, we had our first one-day Explorer event. So we've been running one-day events for the last, 3 or 4 years or something like that. And typically they've been historic. I think we did one historic brawl event because people were requesting it. But usually they've been historic as sort of an alternate format to our leagues that have typically been standard. But we decided to do an Explorer one for this one-day event, and both you and I played in it, and it was a lot of fun.
It's so cool.
I streamed the event, and as tends to happen when I'm playing on stream, my deck decided to not be nice, but your deck went quite well. So give us a rundown on how the event went, who won it, and what decks you were pretty happy to see.
Yeah, so 16 players all up, which is pretty good for lunchtime on a Saturday. We were pretty happy with that turnout. So shout out to all of the players that made the time. It was taken out by Autolycus who was on Simic Flash. So end up with a 4-0 finish. So, with our one-day events, there's no cut to top 4 or top 8. It's just play the Swiss and whoever's at the top gets the W. So Autolycus beat me in the final. I was playing my, Gruul, Transmogrify, go and get a turn 3 Titan of Industry and just crush with that. But my points, and I think if I'm correct in remembering, so first and second will get envy points, for 16 players, which means that, Penchair was also on 3-1, will get the additional envy point. Rolling Royce, Elwol, 20k Blue, Mr. Pogan Space and Wungasith rounding out the top 8. So lots of, familiar names and, good players, but we had a really, really diverse metagame. So I'll just run through them in no particular order. We had Azzy G on Jun mid-range, Rolling Royce on Green Black Hardened Scales, Linden on Jeskai Control, Otto on Simic Flash, as I mentioned, Sarah Soldiers on Naya Tokens, Wonga Sith. I had an absolute epic game 3 in my round against Wonga Sith on Abzen Humans, 20k Blue on Boris Aggro, Penchair or Calvinel on Mono Green, Shorty with the Is It Creativity, and you've got some stories to tell from that event. J Mud was playing a 5-color pile because any chance to play Niv Mizzet, he's there. Mr. Pogan Space, Red Black Midrange, Mr. M, Rats in Plains, AV Cable was playing the Fight Rigging, Sultai Ultimatum deck, the international crew of De Baroom was playing, he's called it Caffeinated Ubros. You played against him. What was his deck?
It's energy.
Ugin.
He was playing, it was Teamer Energy, so he's trying to play Ugins and Ulamog, so that's the Ubros.
Right. Okay, no worries. And Dark Flame Ash, rounding out our players with Azurius Flyers. So, really diverse.
I don't think we've actually got 2 of the same deck, do we?
No, we don't. Like, there's a couple of different mid-range decks. And
nuts for, 16 players, 16 different decks. That's insane.
But that's indicative of the format, though, right? It's so diverse and so much fun. You just play against different decks all the time. And you get good matchups and bad matchups and matchups you've never seen before, so you've no idea whether it was good or bad. And it's the Wild West, and it's really exciting and so much fun. Every game was different. Every round was different. So yeah, it's different for every round was different for me. Every round for you was the same, where you just flooded out and just drew lands for days.
Drew bulk lands.
Yeah, but everybody else was having a good time, Shorty.
Yeah, I was having a good time. There was definitely some moments of just putting my head in my hands and just going, yep.
Where it's like, I've drawn a few too many lands here. I'll discard 2 lands from this, the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. And what do you draw?
Two more lands.
2 more lands, yeah. Oh, that happens. But yeah, I played against 20k Blue in the first round and took it down in 3. There was some rough mulligans on both our sides in the first 2 games, and then we had a good game, and I got there in game 2. Wonga Sith, as I said, we played an absolute epic. His deck seemed really, really cool, but I managed to eke out the win. The top of my deck we both were drawing spells, but the spells I was drawing were Titan of Industry, not, 2/2 creatures. So I just was able to go over the top. I then beat Rolling Royce in 2 very quick games. I just had turn 3 Titan both games, and it was just a bit much for his snowbally type value creature deck. And then I lost in 3 to the eventual winner there in Wonga Sith, in Autolycus. I got there in game 1 because they missed a land drop and I was able to capitalize, but I don't think I resolved a spell in the next 2 games. So he just counted everything, played flash threats and killed me with them. So, I did resolve some spells. I boarded in some uncounterable spells, and then he just dealt with them with his removal. So, it's
Razorbar or whatever.
Yeah. So great choice. Really, good matchup for Auto for the finals there, and they took it down. They are our inaugural Explorer one-day event winner. So well done, Autolycus. Deserved winner.
Very cool deck. Like, this was a deck that was around in Standard. It's playing like Nissa, Who Shakes the World, Nightpack Ambusher, Frilled Mystic, Brazen Borrower, that sort of thing. And then just a suite of probably upgraded counter spells. You've got Growth Spiral, which is one of the best cards around, but you get new cards from the newer sets that we didn't have back in Standard. And I've got to say, I am a fan of playing Rewind. He's got three Rewinds.
Smash me with it.
It's a good effort.
And when the Divide by Zero package was great as well.
Yeah. But when you've got like Memory Deluge, which costs 4, and Frilled Mystic, Nightpack Ambusher, which also cost 4, Rewind is just perfect, because you can counter their spell, untap your lands, and then still flash in your Nightpack Ambusher. So, yeah, very, very, very cool and worked quite well. So, good effort by Autolycus. What did you see? Like, we both played 20k blue. I played and Wunga Sith. I played Wunga Sith in the first round, and I got off to a flying start. Game 1 was like, yep, my deck just went off. It's like, sweet, this is why I'm playing this deck. This is what I want to be doing. And then I think I mulled to 4 in Game 2 and then mulled to 5 in Game 3. So that did not go so well. And then 20k blue on the Boros aggro just absolutely smashed my face in just really quickly. And then I got to play De Broom, which was the first time I've ever played against De Broom in a Beans event. We've never been in the same group for the leagues over 3 or 4 years that the De Broom's been playing in our events.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
And he crushed me.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was cool to see the energy deck.
De Broom's been a fan of Pummeler and the energy cards for a long time, so not surprised that he busted those out and obviously did some work. Got at least a win. To check the
I think he just got the one win. I think he just beat me. That was it. But his deck certainly did what it was meant to do. And then faced off against Sarah Soldiers. So I don't know what happened with Sarah Soldiers. We're talking about it on the stream. The last 2 one-day events that we've run, I think Sarah Soldiers has either taken them down or come second. And this time dead last. Sarah Soldiers with an 0-4. So maybe not an Explorer fan, or maybe just a historic specialist. But yeah, she was playing the Azorius Flyers. Sorry, not Azorius Flyers. It was the
Naya Tokens.
Naya Tokens, yeah, sorry. And I think game 1, it was like she was on like 50 life or something like that. And chat's just like, you're dead. You got no chance of winning.
I think we put a poll in, and everybody 100% said that you were going to lose.
Yes, yeah, actually, that's right. And then, I just had one of those turns that my deck has, where it's like Sublime Epiphany, copy Gear Hulk, flashback Magma Opus, like had Shark Typhoon on the battlefield. So I go from basically no board to having like 3 or 4 Gear Hulks and a bunch of huge sharks, and yeah, that was enough for Sarah to go, yeah, I've got a bunch of tokens that I can't do anything with. So that was quite nice. But it took me to 3 games, which was good. But yeah, it was a good event. It was a lot of fun and some really, really cool decks. And like I said, 16 different decks. That is, I think originally we had, J-Mud was meant to be playing a humans list. I think a green-white human. So we would have had an Abzan humans and a green-white humans. And then before Decklist submission was up, he contacted us and said, no, I've come to my senses. I need to play something fun, and submitted his 5-color pile. So yeah, 16 different decks. That's insane.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. And it just shows, as I said before, just how wide open and diverse the format is. So, there's a lot of space for creativity.
Is it creativity?
Yeah, I got halfway through saying creativity and realized what I'd done there. So, but yeah, there's a lot of space to, for expression. No, that's banned. Expressive iteration. But yeah, imagine your deck with expressive iteration.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not an instant, so you can't flash it back with Gear Hulk, but still
be good. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what would happen? I would draw the top 3 cards in my library and they would all be lands.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, that's still not bad.
Yeah, it gets rid of them off the top. Then you've only got the three that's left on the top to get through after that. So, yeah. But if you haven't played in our tournament series and you reckon that you're good enough to take down the likes of Autolycus on Simic Flash, then there's still time to sign up for our next league, which is coming up in a few weeks. We'll talk about that a bit later, and accrue some points, or even spike the league and get a spot at the Invitational. So please, sign up, join the Discord. There's always a link in the show notes, and you can get in on these events. Worth mentioning, free to enter, and we gave away $250 worth of cash and prizes, and there were some on-stream giveaways of some collector boosters as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're missing out if you're not part of the Beans community, let me tell you.
Yep. It's just free value that you can get your hands on. So come and join. And speaking of that, that is the next thing that, like you said, Chewy, we do have our next league coming up, and for the first time ever, it is going to be an Explorer League. So this was not a decision we took lightly. We had a bit of thought about it and planned things out and sort of looked at dates. But with the weird scheduling of set releases this year, Wizards kind of put us into a corner. And we had, what was the last set? Streets of New Capenna came out in May?
Yeah.
April? Somewhere around there. It was quite a while ago. And the next set doesn't come out till mid-September. So there's just this enormous gap between standard sets. And obviously Wizards has filled that gap with the Alchemy Baldur's Gate Horizons set or whatever. And if Alchemy was a good format, then maybe this league would have been Alchemy, but it's not.
No, but Explorer is. So
Explorer is.
So we've been talking about it for some time, about doing a league of an Explorer, and we were like, do we want to depart from what we've currently done and things? But it was really just a no-brainer this time round, and I think it's been pretty well received by the Beans community. So if you don't like Standard but you want to play Explorer, then a great chance to play for some decent prizes as well, it's got to be said. So, Yeah,
absolutely. So the league will actually kick off next Friday. So Friday, the 22nd of July, we'll be doing the usual live draw. We'll all jump on the call, and Cracker will be pulling names out of Teferi's puzzle box or whatever he pulls them out of, and we'll be sorting everyone into their groups. So that's we're recording this on Thursday the 14th, so it's just over a week away, probably a week away by the time you're actually listening to this podcast. So make sure you go and sign up for that. Just go to magicbeanscast.com and you'll find the link on there. And free to enter, $500 in cash and prizes. We give away collector's boosters every week. I will not be streaming any of my group stage matches because the exact 3 weeks that the league group stage is on, I will be in Bali. So I'll be playing on the iPad or maybe on the phone or something like that. But hopefully one of the other beans will be streaming. And then we'll be having the usual final stream cut to top 16, play the top 8 finals on stream with some average commentary and some really good OBS button pushing. And that'll be on the 27th of August. So pencil that into your diary. And as always, we'll be doing lots of giveaways and things like that. So always a lot of fun. Explorer is an awesome format. We've been talking about it heaps lately as we just went through with the deck lists. Super diverse. You can very easily just grab your deck you've been playing in Standard recently and put in a few improvements and away you go. Or, grab a deck you used to play in Standard in the last few years and give it some slight upgrades and away you go there as well. So should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. And we want to see you in there and playing against us. So
absolutely. Get on it.
Next thing on the docket is the schedule for the regional qualification series. So it's being run by Good Games here in Australia, and we've talked about when this was all announced that the various geographical regions had different people running it. I think in the US it's SCG. It's DreamHack.
DreamHack, yeah.
Yep. In Europe, it's someone called Legacy. Here in Australia, it is Good Games. And they've labelled it their Super Series, and like they've called the regional qualifiers Super Series qualifiers and things like that. That's their sort of personal branding, I guess. So we're finally at a stage where that's actually kicking off. Like the season started a couple of weeks ago, but it's just sort of all starting to kick off now, and we've got some events coming up. So we thought we probably should have a chat about what's going on, especially, the majority of our listeners are from here in Australia and quite a few people from Victoria. So we thought we'd have a bit of a chat about what's coming up and, give you guys all the information. So Chewy, take us away with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Shorty will link the upcoming events in the show notes. There you go, Shorty. Do
write that down.
Here. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So the first event in Victoria where we are kicks off on the 6th of August. But we've got some events kicking off this week. I think some are being run quite closely akin to like an F&M. So some of those are starting from tomorrow at various places around the country. But so check the website, find the one or the ones near you. For us here, we're based here in Victoria. We don't have any kicking off until the 6th of August. So still another 3 weeks or so for Victorians. Others kicking off, much sooner. So, are you planning on playing many of these, Shorty?
I mean, I'd like to, but the reality is most of them are they're pretty much all on Saturdays and Sundays, other than a couple that are being run as F&Ms. And as you well know, our weekends are extremely full, and I'm going to be away for 3 weeks as well. So
a big chunk of that,
I am super keen, but the chances are pretty slim. I think there might be one towards the end of August that is on a Saturday in a reasonable location. I think that's the one that's in like Burwood or something like that. So, keen for that, but we're just going to have to see how we go as we get closer to it.
Yeah, I'm really keen to get to some, and there's some that are, on our side of town, like Dandenong, Box Hill type areas. So I'm not, probably not going to travel to Ballarat or, even, Greensborough, but, I'm keen to, get to at least one, if not a couple of these, and, just organized play back again in whatever form is exciting. The format is a good one, and just playing Magic with people, in person for some sort of stakes again is great. So, you may be listening to us, you may be an arena only player and you discovered Magic, as one of your lockdown activities or something like that over the last couple of years, and you haven't had the joy of, going with your friends or, even a friend to a game store. The butterflies that you get, even I still get them after, 16 odd years of playing competitive Magic, and, trying your hand to, battle against other people and, do your best and actually play for something real and tangible. So, if you haven't experienced that, then I can definitely recommend jumping in, grab a mate or two, grab a deck, go in and play. Honestly, it doesn't matter what your results are. As long as you, going in there with the right attitude, you're going to have a great time. So I really miss, as if you couldn't tell, I really miss, in-person paper tournaments. So I'm pretty pumped about this, if I'm honest.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like there's 12 that have been announced for Victoria so far. That we may see some more, because there are a couple of stores on that haven't actually announced ones, and they're all Pioneer except for 2 that have been announced so far. So there's one at Games Portal that is actually going to be Modern on the 20th of August, and then there's one at Cardtastic that's actually sealed, which is interesting. So it's all feeding into the Pro Tour that will be early next year, I think it is. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
And that Pro Tour is going to be Pioneer, so it would make sense for most of the qualifiers to be Pioneer. But the stores have the option to run sort of whatever they want. So Do you remember what these events actually are? Like how that process works? Or do you need me to explain it?
No, this is like the bottom of the pyramid, right?
Yep.
So, yeah. So you do well at these, like top 16 them or something. And then that goes into the event that we've got in November in Sydney. And then if you do well at that, you go to the Pro Tour. Am I correct?
Yeah, close. Yeah, pretty much. So it's usually either top 1 or top 2 from these qualifiers. So these are open qualifiers, open to anyone. You just go, you register, you pay your money, and away you go. You get promos, like the participation promo is a lava spike. The top 8 is a Nixos. Yep. Yeah. And then first is a foil Nixos. And then, you have to check the events vary. Like some stores seem to be running, I think basically the way it works is each store has 2 qualifications to give. So some stores will run one event and just the first person the top 2 from their one event will qualify. Whereas other stores will run 2 events and it'll just be the top place from the 2 events. So make sure you check the tournament, information before you go. And you qualify for the regional championships, which is the big event that's coming up for us in Australia. It's going to be in Sydney on, November 25th to 27th. And if you've qualified through, then you get to play in that. You do still have to pay to play in it, but that is the regional championships, which is like a pretty big event. It's like winning your regional championships is pretty big.
It feels like Nats, right?
Yeah, it's bigger than winning a GP, and the prize pool is bigger than winning a GP, and I think the prestige is bigger than winning a GP. And even just in name, like if you're able to say, like, I'm the Australian and New Zealand champion, like that sounds a lot better than I won a Grand Prix. From a non-Magic playing people's
for a layman
understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so I look at this like nationals where you can't just rock up to a nationals and play. You've got to qualify.
Yeah, you got to do some work to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a there's all of the associated prestige and pressure and all of that good stuff that goes with it. So yeah, pretty excited by this. If I would be lying if I didn't say that I wouldn't want to get to one of these and win. So yeah, it's going to be a cool event, I think.
Yeah. So, just for everyone's reference, we will talk about this as we get closer to November, but at the actual regional championships, there will be last chance qualifiers, which is something they do at nationals as well. But there are events that you can play in to try and qualify when you're there, and there will be a bunch of side events and all that sort of thing as well. So it will still be a huge event. So if you don't manage to qualify through one of these qualifiers, there are still other ways to actually get in there. But I think you sort of hit the nail on the head, Chewy. Actually going and playing paper events that have meaning and something to really strive for, where it's like, yep, if I do well at this tournament, that I get to this thing, and then if I do well at that tournament, that gets me to this thing, and then I could be the world champion or whatever, make my way all the way there and become a professional Magic player or whatever the dream is these days. Whereas just playing a random, just going to your local store and just playing a Tuesday night or a Thursday night or whatever event, it's like, yeah, it's fun, but it's pretty casual and doesn't really mean too much other than getting a few prizes. So, the other thing we thought we'd do is actually just have a quick look at the Pioneer format. So we did the paper stream a little while ago. When was that? Was that last week?
Last week, yeah. Before the last podcast, yeah.
Yep. And other than that, we haven't played much in Pioneer, and you'd never played Pioneer up.
Those games I played on stream, apart from 3 games that I'd played with Cracker before we, turned the cameras on. Yep. That was absolutely the first games I've played. So yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. So Pioneer does have a bit of a defined metagame because as we mentioned before, it is being played on Magic Online. So there are, weekly challenges and leagues and all that sort of stuff. So we do get a bit of a proper defined metagame. So take us through, we're not going to go full really deep into the Pioneer metagame, but we can have a bit of a chat about sort of the top decks and what people are likely to see. So give us a bit of rundown on a few.
Yeah, absolutely. So, mono green ramp, we've mentioned Nykthos a couple of times, throughout the course of the cast. So it seems like a good spot to start. So you've got, Elvish Mystic and Lanoir Elves, as well as, Sylvan Caryatid to absolutely just ramp really, really hard, as well as Kiora, Behemoth Beckoner. It lets you get, extra value out of your Nykthos. You've got Old Growth Troll, who not only just becomes like a pressure on turn 2, but powers up your Nykthos. And you've got Storm the Festivals. You got a Khan, the Great Creator package as well, and Cavalier of Thorns does a great job of beating face. So you just want to ramp into giant things, and Khan lets you, cash in the mana that you've got, and there's just like a whole, swath of super powerful artifacts, everything from Tormod's Crypt and Darksteel Citadel up to the Great Henge, in your sideboard. So, you're almost pre-sideboarded in that sense. And, just ramp out a lot of big things, and just Khan lets you not just cast one big thing, but, a big thing every turn, which is pretty cool. I think that is an awesome deck. An old favorite of ours, Shorty. I mentioned Thing in the Ice earlier. So you get Arc-like Phoenix with Thing in the Ice. So you've got, it's thing in the nice, right? Yeah. So strategic planning, pieces of the puzzle, is it charm, consider all of these ways to get things, get chickens into the bin, as well as the Thing in the Ice to, clock people and control the board really, really well. So it's bin chickens. We know about it. It's a deck that it's on my short list to play, but it's certainly something to be aware of. Mono red's a thing. Bant spirits, or mono blue spirits, powerhouses in the format. There's some great control decks in Dimir and Esper. There's mono red. And then there's some, and I think I mentioned Eidolon of the Great Revel at some point earlier in the cast. That's not what you want to see when you're trying to play Arc-like Phoenix, but the mono red list, Shorty, it's got a lot of powerful cards like Monetary Swift Spare, Burning Tree Emissary, Kari Zev, Annex, Bone Crusher Giant, Torbrand, Embercleave. There's so many powerful red spells here. Like it's, I'm sure that it gets you, pretty pumped up. Commando Faces, Karkazan, there's, is this where you'll be starting, do you think?
It's very good. that's for sure. But, it's not actually that different from what we have on Explorer. Like basically the only card that's in here that we don't have in Explorer is Eidolon of the Great Revel. And Swift Spear, which, like the list I'm just looking at now is only running 2 of them. Eidolon is a very, very key card in the mono red list. And it's a card like, we might actually sort of read just a few of these cards, because they may be cards that particularly our arena only players have not even heard of or even know what they do. So Eidolon of the Great Revel is red for a 2/2, an enchantment creature spirit. When a player casts a spell with, it says converted mana cost, it's mana value 3 or less, Eidolon of the Great Revel deals 2 damage to that player. So on its face, it's dealing damage to both players, so it can certainly do a lot of damage to yourself, but when you're the aggressive deck that's already putting the pressure on, just forcing your opponents like, yep, every spell you cast that's 3 mana or less, you're going to cop it in the face. So it adds up a lot, and then with all the rest of the pressure that you're putting on the players, it makes a big difference. So very cool deck. Would certainly be a good place to start. Is reasonably cheap as well, although Eidolons have certainly jumped up a fair bit in value. And other than that, it is a pretty cheap deck and a good place to start. So
certainly a deck that you need to be aware of when you're building your own deck, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I know Cracker's pretty excited about the Hidden Strings combo. So I'll bring this one up because it's kind of like the absolute opposite of Mono Red, which is really linear, really direct. And then if you don't know what the Hidden Strings deck does, you're like, what is this pile of cards? So it is a combo deck that uses Lotus Field to just get an absurd amount of mana really, really quickly and basically win with Approach of the Second Sun out of your sideboard. But, you just have an enormous turn to do, insane stuff, including, early emergent ultimatums. And yeah, you've got this toolbox sideboard because of, all of your ways to get things out of your sideboard, like Masterminds acquisition and the likes. And yeah, any deck that plays Omniscience is going to be a hit with me. So yeah,
this is the deck that basically has one win condition in the single Approach of the Second Sun in the sideboard. I mean, I guess you could win by attacking with a Leer or your Vizier or your Fae of Wishes, but that's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, it's a one-trick pony, but it's a difficult pony to interact with, and it's it can just go off quite early with the Thespian stage and the Lotus Fields to just get ridiculous amounts of mana really, really quickly. So yeah, interesting deck. So yeah, I'm not sure I could play this for a whole tournament without
no
my brain exploding.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting though. And I guess, one to be aware of. Something that I could probably see myself playing for, a full event would be something like a Rakdos mid-range deck. I don't know if it'd be, I'm not excited about this deck from it does really cool stuff, but it's powerful. Like Blood Tithe Harvesters, Croxers, Tenacious Underdogs, Bone Crushers, Graveyard Trespasser, Kalitas.
Yeah,
Chandra
that's a big one that we don't have currently in Explorer.
So for arena only players or some people that, may not have seen Kalitas since, this, legendary vampire warrior rotated out of standard. Is it Kalitas or Kalitas? Kalitas.
Yeah, I say Kalitas, but
Kalitas, that's fine.
I also say Shaman, so don't listen to me.
This one's, Ikoria. I think depending on what precedes it in my sentence, it comes out different. So 2 black for a 3/4 with lifelink. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, exile that card and put a 2/2 black zombie creature token into the battlefield. And then it's got an activated ability of 2 and a black, sacrifice another vampire or zombie, put 2 +1 counters on Kalitas. So it's an engine in one card. So it's graveyard disruption in its own way. If things going from the battlefield to the bin, they get exiled. 3/4 with lifelink's good against mono red, and it grows. And you can sacrifice things like Tenacious Underdog to it, as well as the zombies that it creates. And it's paired up with, all the aforementioned creatures, Chandra. Then you've got Fatal Push and Thoughtseize and Dreadbore. And of course you got Fable of the Mirror Breaker, in this deck as well and you can discard Croxar and Tenacious Underdog. So this deck seems really, really cool, in its, just sort of mid-range, aggressively slanted, creature deck that's got some really, really powerful spells. This is a deck that I could definitely see myself registering for a tournament.
Yeah, I can see you playing this. Yeah, the key cards, again, 90% of this deck is currently in Explorer, but Kalitas is super powerful. Like when that was in Standard, it really is a house, and aggressive mono red decks do not like that spell. Dreadbore is another big one, which is a red-black for a sorcery. It's just destroy target creature or planeswalker. Just straight up really good removal. And then Urborg is another card we don't currently have. I don't think we have in Explorer.
No, I don't believe so.
Urborg's the land that makes makes each land a swamp. So sort of fixes your mana a little bit, and then does have other uses every now and then when you need lots of black mana. But
yeah, do we have Corrupt? I don't think we do. No.
I don't think so. No, we've seen the Rakdos mid-range decks in a bunch of different formats, and they are super, super powerful.
Yeah, there's mid-range, there's Sacrifice, there's sometimes they splash a third colour. So yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
What else jumps out at you?
I mean, we've got spirits in a few different styles, which we played on stream the other week. So you get like a mono blue spirits that's basically the same as what we've got in Arena, in Explorer at the moment, but we've got Mausoleum Wanderer as well, which is a 1-mana 1/1 that gets bigger when other spirits come in, but its main ability is you can sack it and counter an instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays X, where X is its power. So usually it's just Force Spike, counter it unless they pay 1, but you can flash in another spirit to make it a little bit bigger, or if it's got, like a Curious Obsession or a Supreme Phantom that's a Lord, something along those lines, then all of a sudden it's basically a free mana leak, and works quite well. So that deck's pretty good, but then there's also the Bant Coco version, because another card that we are definitely missing in Explorer is what's called Spell Queller. The 1 white blue 2/3 flash spirit with flying. When it enters the battlefield, exile target spell with converted mana cost or mana value 4 or less. And then when Spell Queller leaves the battlefield, the owner of the card can cast it without paying its mana cost. So this was a really, really powerful card in Standard, particularly with Collected Company, where you can just, your opponent casts a spell, you Coco, you hit a Spell Queller, you exile their spell, you hopefully hit some other creature as well.
Yeah, this card is so good. For those who may not know about it, before we got the free spells like, Grief and Fury in Modern Horizons 2, this was a modern playable good Magic card in
100%.
In that older format. So it's a really, really powerful. So definitely an upgrade to the blue white or the Bant Spirits list there for sure.
Yep.
And it's something to be aware of definitely when you're building your decks.
Yep. Just wanted to go back to the mono green list that you started with there, Chewy. Just something to point out to some people. So Nykthos is a card we've mentioned a bunch of times tonight, but you may not have seen it before. I think you've probably played a bunch of this.
No, never put a Nykthos into the battlefield ever.
Well, it's just a legendary land, and it taps for a colorless or a generic, and it has 2 and tap, choose a color, add to your mana pool an amount of mana of that color equal to your devotion to that color. So devotion we've seen in Standard in the last couple of years on Arena. It's just counting up the number of mana symbols of your permanents. So a lot of the creatures that you're playing in this list have, like, Old Growth Troll is green, green, green. Cavalier of Thorns is 2 green, green, green. You're playing random Oath of Nisses and Wolfwillow Havens that just sort of hang around on the battlefield. So once you're hitting a devotion of 4 or more, you're making more mana. And it's not hard with this list to tap Nykthos and make 8, 10 mana sort of thing. And then when you're able to untap that land with Kiora, which has a -1 of untap target permanent, it goes off and you can make an absolute ton of mana. This deck, I don't know if you know, Chewy, but this deck actually has a combo built into it that is convoluted.
Really?
I'm not going to try and explain it, but in the sideboard there is Pestilent Cauldron. And you're not casting it for the Pestilent Cauldron side, you are casting it for the Restorative Burst side of
which
it.
Which is return up to 2 target creature, land, and or planeswalker cards from your graveyard to your hand. Each player gains 4 life, and then exile this. Okay?
Yeah. So there's a combo you can do with, like, multiple Kioras, and, like, I think it's like 2 Kioras, a Karn, so Karn can fetch Pestilent Cauldron, and then you can basically just recast a bunch of things, like keep recasting your Kioras and untapping your Nykthos and just.
So it's not an infinite combo, but you can
you can
have
just make
one like enormous turn.
Yeah, I can't remember how it actually wins. There's something in there that actually makes your opponents die from doing that, but yeah, there is a combo. It's quite convoluted, but it definitely is in there, and it'll be one of those things that happens to you in paper, and it's like trying to explain the KCI combo to people, and they just kind of glaze get that glazed look in their eyes and go,
like, okay,
I don't believe you, but you sound convincing.
Yeah, you just say it with authority. Yeah. Absolutely. I can see Polywaffle sleeving that deck up just quietly.
He does like casting big green spells, so
yeah,
we'll not be surprised.
Yeah, so one last deck that I would like to call out, because this is a deck that I want to be good and I would love to play, and I know J-Mud would be all over, which is the Niv Mizzet Bring to Light deck. So it's got a Companion of Gigantha and Caryatid, Valky. It's got Niv Mizzet Scarab God. It's got some Omnaths for value, and then some absolutely just powerhouse spells. This is just like, there is no Blood Moon in this list, in this format, and I'm taking full advantage. So, Abrupt Decay, Dreadbore, Growth Spiral, Vanishing Birth, Colligan's Command, 4 copies of Bring to Light. The craziest mana base you've ever seen. I think like Frank Karsten just, wakes up in a cold sweat thinking about this mana base. So yeah, just like this value, trade 1 for 1, play Niv Mizzet, refill my hand, just outgrind you whilst I'm, Scarab Godding, Omnathing, and bashing with my 6/6 flying dragon. So really cool. I want it to be good. It's one of those things that's going to feel like the best deck or the worst deck, depending on how well you draw your coloured mana. So
you got to get a little bit lucky, but yeah, Bring to Light is another one that we haven't seen in Explorer yet. So this is 3 green blue for a sorcery. It has Converge. This is from BFZ, I think. Which is search your library for a creature, instant, or sorcery card with mana value less than or equal to the number of colours of mana spent to cast this spell. Exile that card, then shuffle. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. So if you just pay it straight up for its cost, if you've only got blue and green mana and you pay it for 5, you're going and getting a creature, instant, or sorcery card with mana value 2 or less, because you've spent 2 different colours. But this deck is all built around 5 colours. So I'm assuming that your aim is to Bring to Light and have 5 colours so that you can go and get your Niv Mizzet.
Yes.
Or Scarab God or whatever, one of these powerful 5 mana creatures that you've got, and then cast it for free without paying its mana cost. So we've seen Bring to Light decks in Modern, like there's Bring to Light Scapeshift decks and a few other different Bring to Light combo decks that get around. So it is a very, very powerful card, and something to keep an eye on, and it can be a super powerful deck, but can also just get completely run over when most of its lands come into play tapped and you're playing mono red and just smashing them before they get to do anything. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's the deck's just cool.
yeah, very cool. Yep. And Pioneer is very, very much like Explorer. Like if you go down through the lists on any of the metagame websites, there is just so many decks, and so many of them are, they're not all tier 1, but they're tier 2, and they're definitely playable, and you can absolutely win. And a lot of them are based on old standard decks that you used to have. There's even Greasefang decks and things like that in Pioneer as well. So yeah, should be cool. Should be a cool format to play. There's a couple of different versions of Jeskai Ascendancy combo, which I'm keen to play. But again, I don't think I could actually play that for a full tournament. It's just a bit of fun to play every now and then. But cool format. Get into it. And if you want some help or some advice on lists to play or tuning your deck or anything like that, then jump into the Pioneer channel in our Discord and have a bit of a chat in there. So if you were to be playing one of these upcoming ones, in the next couple of weeks, Chewy, and you had access to all the cards, which you basically do with Chris, what are you playing?
If I didn't have access to Chris's extensive card library, I would probably play the Boros aggro deck because it's super cheap to build. We didn't talk about that, but it's the 10th District Legionnaire pump spells deck.
Yep.
My starting position would probably be Phoenix, and I'd probably try to work it out from there. I might try to port the Transmogrify deck from Explorer in and waste a bunch of time doing that. But yeah, so Phoenix, then I'd probably get sick of losing to Rest in Peace and settle on the Rakdos mid-range list.
Yep, fair enough. I also would start on Phoenix. I haven't cast a thing in the eyes for so long, and I really want to. So I would definitely be running Phoenix. And yeah, if that was not going well for me, then yeah, I'd probably just jam Mono Red because it is quite good in Pioneer. So
let's do a deal. Let's do a deal, Shorty, right now, because we've been to a lot of tournaments together and prepared for a lot of events together, but only really twice we've been on the same deck.
Yep.
Let's start with Phoenix.
All right.
And let's see what we can do, and work on it, tweak it, learn from one another, and let's see if we can get a W between us.
Sounds good. Top two qualify for the regional championships, and we'll just make sure
I'll scoop
top
for you
two is
if
us.
we're both in the final. I'll scoop for you. Okay, so done.
Sounds good. All right, so that's going to do us for this week. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode and got something good out of it. But just need to remind you on the way out the door that it is only a week, basically, until our next league kicks off. So go to magicbeanscast.com, find the link for the Explorer League, and join that because it's going to be a stack of fun. I'm really looking forward to that one. If you are playing in our events, or even if you're not, you want to be in our Discord because that's a really good place to be. Really awesome people in there, really cool community, and we just love hanging out in there, chatting to people. And if you are playing in our events, you need to be in there anyway to get everything organised. So come and join us in there. There's a link in the show notes for the merch store where you can buy some hoodies, t-shirts, mouse pads, mugs, whatever else you want to buy with the Magic Beans logo on there. So go and check that out because any money that we get from that just goes straight back into the prize pool for all the different things we do. Speaking of the prizes and the prize pool, a lot of that comes from Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. So just go to jpmtgbazaar.com.au. It'll take you straight to the Facebook auction group and you can join up to get a deal on their daily auctions. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. All those places we are Magic Beans or Magic Beans Cast. So search us up and you'll find us on there. If you want to find me on Twitter, I'm at Peace Inc. And Chewy, you are?
At Chewy MTG.
Very good. So thank you as always for listening. Stay safe out there and we will see you all next time.